Imagine, right now, you are sitting in your favorite coffee shop. It is late afternoon, and the warm sunlight is streaming through the window, hitting the steam rising from your cup. You are alone, but you don't feel lonely. Then, the door opens, and a woman walks in. She is 60 years old. She has deep, kind eyes that seem to have seen everything but have remained gentle. She smiles at you with a kind of love you have probably never given yourself. This woman walks straight to your table and sits down. She doesn't need to introduce herself because, deep down, you know exactly who she is. She is you 30 years into the future. She hasn't come here to give you a lecture on how to be successful. She hasn't come with a 10-step plan or a list of motivational quotes. She is here because she has seen how the story ends, and she has one urgent, heartfelt request. She reaches across the table, takes your hands that are so busy holding every piece of your life together, and she whispers, "Please, stop postponing your life. Welcome back to the Daily Better. I am so incredibly grateful that you chose to spend these minutes with me today. If you are listening to this, you are likely in your mid-20s or your mid-30s. This is a beautiful season of life. But let's be honest, it is also an incredibly heavy one. You are currently in the middle of the doing years. You are doing the career, doing the relationships, doing the home building, and perhaps doing the parenting. You are like a performer on a stage, spinning 20 different plates at once, trying your absolute best not to let a single one drop to the floor. But in the middle of all that doing, there is a noise. It is quiet, but it is persistent. It is in the back of your mind every morning when you wake up and every night before you fall asleep. It is the sound of things being pushed aside. It is the sound of the life you actually want to live being stuffed into a box labeled later. When we are in our 30s, later feels like a magical, faraway land. We tell ourselves that later is where the free time is. Later is where the confidence lives. Later is when we will finally feel ready to be our true selves. But your 60-year-old self knows the truth. She knows that later is a mirage. It is like the horizon. The faster you run toward it, the further it moves away. Think about what you are postponing right now. Most of us think we are postponing the big dramatic things, starting a company, writing a novel, or moving to a different country. But that is usually not what the weight of regret is made of. Regret is made of much smaller, quieter, and more invisible delays. You are postponing rest because you feel like you haven't earned it yet. You are postponing joy because you think you need to be productive first. You are postponing your voice because you don't want to make things uncomfortable for the people around you. You think you are being responsible by waiting. You think you are being a good woman, a perfect partner, or a reliable employee. But your future self sees the true cost. She sees that every time you say, "I'll do it later," what you are actually saying is, "I will wait to exist until later." If you met your 60-year-old self today, she would beg you to stop waiting for permission. As women, we are often socialized to wait for a green light. We wait for the right time to speak up. We wait for someone else to tell us we are good enough, successful enough, or thin enough to finally enjoy our days. She would tell you, stop waiting for the house to be perfectly clean before you allow yourself to sit down and breathe. Stop waiting for the bank account to hit a certain number before you take that trip you've been dreaming about. Stop waiting to be 10 pounds lighter before you buy the clothes that make you feel beautiful. She looks at how you treat your body right now, the way you judge it in the mirror, the way you punish it for being tired, the way you treat it like an enemy that needs to be controlled. She would tell you, "Please, stop postponing your health. I don't mean a perfect diet or an extreme workout. I mean loving kindness. This body is the only home you will ever truly have. It is the vessel that carries you through every sunset and every hug. Do not wait until it breaks to start listening to it. At this stage in your life, the weight of responsibility feels like an invisible backpack full of heavy stones. You are carrying the expectations of your parents, the needs of your partner, and the demands of society. Comparison makes this backpack feel even heavier. You look sideways and see other women who seem to be running faster, even with bigger backpacks. But your future self knows about something called the spotlight effect. She knows that while you are terrified that everyone is judging your pace, everyone else is actually too busy struggling with their own stones. They aren't watching your race. They are panting in theirs. She would tell you, stop postponing your deep connections for the sake of your to-do list. Time does not just pass for you. It passes for everyone you love. Your parents are getting older. Your friends are moving into different chapters. Your children, if you have them, are growing up in the blink of an eye. She would say, stop assuming they will always be there. Always patient. Always waiting for the version of you that is finally less busy. The people who love you don't want the successful version of you 30 years from now. They want the present version of you today. One of the heaviest things your 60-year-old self carries is the weight of the things you didn't say. To keep the peace, you swallow your boundaries. You stay silent when you should speak up. You say, "It's fine," when your heart is actually breaking. She would look at you with urgency and say, "Stop postponing your voice." What you do not say does not disappear. It settles inside you like a knot in your stomach. Years from now, it becomes a bitterness you never intended to choose. She would beg you to have that honest conversation today, to set that boundary now, because peace at the expense of your own truth is not peace at all. It is just a slow, silent war against yourself. We often postpone things because we think we aren't ready. We wait for a sign. But think about the story of the bamboo tree. When the seeds are planted, the farmer must water them every single day. 1 year passes, and nothing happens. 2 years, 3 years, 4 years pass, and the ground remains completely silent. It looks like the seeds have died. It looks like a failure. But in the 5th year, in a period of only 6 weeks, the bamboo grows 80 feet tall. Did it grow 80 feet in 6 weeks, or in 5 years? The answer is 5 years. Because if it had not spent those 4 years growing deep roots into the dark soil, it would never have been able to support the weight of its own height. Your future self would tell you, you are not standing still. You are not failing. You are just busy growing your roots. Do not give up on yourself just because the growth is still underground. The breakthrough is coming, but the roots must come first. In the world of 2026, we are told that success is about status, followers, and looking perfect. But your 60-year-old self sees things differently. To her, the ultimate success is a quiet mind. It is the ability to see someone else win and feel genuine joy for them, because you know their win doesn't make your path any less valid. She would tell you, stop acting like your life is a rehearsal for a show that starts later. This right now is the main event, the laundry, the commute, the difficult emails, The morning coffee. This is what your life is actually made of. This life is not a race to a finish line. It is a giant garden. In a garden. You don't ask the rose why it isn't blooming at the same time as the tulip. You don't get angry at the oak tree for growing slower than the grass. You understand that every plant has its own season, its own ecosystem, and its own timing. When you look at other women who seem to be blooming earlier than you, remember you are not in the same ecosystem. You have your own season. Stop looking over the fence at your neighbor's garden and start watering your own flowers. Your future self isn't asking for a dramatic change. She isn't asking you to quit your job and move to a mountain tomorrow. She is asking for small courage. The courage to say I am tired and I need help. The courage to rest without feeling like you have to earn it. The courage to pursue a hobby that you are bad at, just because it makes you feel alive. The courage to speak the truth. Even if your voice is shaking, most regret is not about making the wrong choice. It is about making no choice at all. It is about the things we kept meaning to do until the window of opportunity quietly closed. Before we finish this episode of The Daily Better, I want you to go back to that coffee shop for one last moment. Imagine your 60-year-old self standing up to leave. She hugs you, and for a second, you feel the peace she has spent decades building. She whispers one last thing in your ear. Don't wait for the world to calm down before you decide to be happy. The world will never be calm. You have to be the calm. Tonight, instead of planning your entire 5-year future, I want you to ask yourself one simple question. What am I postponing that my future self would beg me to start now? Not tomorrow. Not when things settle down. Not when you feel more confident. Now. Maybe it is a phone call you've been avoiding. Maybe it is a nap your body is crying for. Maybe it is a walk in the park. Or maybe it is finally saying no to a commitment that is draining your soul. You don't have to change everything at once. You just have to stop delaying the one thing that keeps quietly asking for your attention. That is how the Daily Better happens. It's not a loud, dramatic transformation. It is a gentle shift. It is one honest decision at a time. Keep growing those roots. Take care of your garden. I will see you in the next episode.